all about being next level. The engine, the exterior look, the suspension. But one thing that was lacking was the interior. So we had to address that. Obviously, an 80 series interior is, well, it's very Toyota. It's bland, it's basic, it's utilitarian. So we had to do something about that. Now, I've always had a love for show cars, street cars, and that kind of thing. And when Henri from SRK Upholstery said, hey, I've got a color combination and an idea for you, I was all ears. Now, I've been working with Henri for a long time now. He's a good mate of mine, and I'm very excited to bring him into this build because we are about to transform the interior of this car and bring it onto an equivalent level to the rest of the car. Today, we're getting some tan leather involved, and I'm extremely excited. Let's go over, we'll keep pulling the interior out of this car. We'll start trimming some seats and show you exactly what we have lined up. Now, we weren't going to waste our time trimming front 80 series seats because they are basically dog uncomfortable and kind of ugly. So, step one was we went out and sourced some Falcon seats, obviously a very common mod for people with Landcruisers and a very cost-effective one as well. The other beautiful thing is we can utilize the Hurricane fabrication, basically bolt-in rail adapters. So we take the 80 series rails, they bolt to this seat and they can all bolt into the car, which is what you need for engineering seat replacements and stuff like this. Now, you can probably tell that this seat has seen some things, as most Ford Falcons have in their lifetime, sadly. So Henri has got a little bit of foam repair to do. Then we're going to be trimming these and they're going to look absolutely sick. I'm very excited. The benefit of a Falcon seat is you actually sit a little bit lower in the car, which for something that's fast and you're off-roading in is a really good thing. You also have a lot more bolstering in this, as you can see, around the hips, the legs and the side, whereas the 80 seat is basically just a flat platform. So these are really comfortable. I had these in the Naughty 40 for years and years and years and loved every minute of them. So they're going back in the front of this. We're also going to be trimming the factory rear seats or the second row seats as well, but we're just going to keep those the standard seats because they fold and they work really well. So I'm going to stop yarning and we'll get these over to Henri. Oh, how much money to taste this? You think it was time to replace them? Let's yarn. Red Bull, if you're listening, please sponsor us. Red Bull, if you're out there. So, Hurricane rails fit really nicely. Now, Henri actually trimmed this seat. This is the passenger side Falcon seat. Now, we trimmed this before we got here to help save us some time today, but you can see how good it looks. This is the man right there. But the tan leather, the orange stitching, we're about to chuck this in the car. Then we're going to show you how this guy right here trims the seats, and it's exciting. He loves it. He's going to put it in. So this is phase one of the interior trim, which is quite a big job already. We're doing front seats, back seats, and the wheel. Obviously the car, we want the whole thing done. So we're talking dash, we're talking door cards, but 80 door cards are pretty shitty because it's all just this weird one piece, like heat molded design. So, oh yeah, so that gray leather, sick.
Later.
Say hello to my little friend!
Bruh. Be grown up.
Brushstrokes, cutthroat from the low when no love goes. Women buddy like it's been that. When me looking at the bill stack. Off the buddy, I was stressed out. Smoke stream from my chest out. Laced up, I really hate love from a straight.
Could've sold that. Brand new cover.
Patrol people took your car.
Yeah.
Just want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, I hurt their feelings a lot too.
I'm way up, it's litty wherever we flow. I came from the cold, used to rest on the floor. I stitch up my wounds, was born a soldier. Flipping the struggle, I'm taking it worldwide. Hold it down when you talk to me. Say it is what it's supposed to be. Say it loud, but I mean it too, yeah. Talk that good when you talk to me. Say it nice and I give it to you. No, my word is bond, yeah.
Henri's doing the proper work. I'm like a child over here helping his dad. Like, hey, hold the torch.
Hold the torch,
yeah. And then I get bashed.
Now it's shit a trip. Life is.
It may need some minor modifications. Minor as in I may have drilled the holes in the wrong spot. I'm just sort of winging it, to be honest. But that's the vibe. You have to bring this little bracket out, and then it sits over here, and obviously in the 79 these magnets hold it on, but in an 80 it's just the clipping there. You can see it's sitting up at a bit of an angle, so I'm just going to elongate these holes, bring that out a bit further. It'll sit down, then I can shut up. One of the best bang for buck mods you can do to upgrade the interior of your 80 is a set of 1-stone armrests. Very easy to modify to fit. Now, before we chuck these on the door card, Chemical Guy's Total Interior Cleaner is good for your door cards, your dashes, your glass, your navigations, your touch screens, your IC7 Haltech dashes and everything in between. And then, once you've modified your armrest, it's as simple as clipping on here. Happy as that. And then you have a nice padded armrest here for your passenger. There's one on the driver's side as well, plus you now both have a cup holder, which is super, super sick and very stable, sturdy and secure. How good's that? Cheers. Now, the factory steering wheel is a nice thing. It's a nice shape and it's period correct. So we're gonna keep it. In the last car we had the PVS wheel, which was nice as well, but I think this one we're going a little bit more retro-esque and vintage vibes. So what we've done is we've wrapped the factory 80 series wheel in tan leather to match the seats. Haven't we, Jen? Yeah, we did. Really pretty. It's gonna look so good. And we're doing orange stitching as well, but I didn't realize that Jen has to painstakingly hand stitch this wheel. So you have fun there. Alrighty, so what are we up to? Well, we're back on the vlog camera. We've got the passenger side seating as you've seen. Now, overnight, because there was a lot to do today, Henri stayed back and smashed out a whole bunch of work. So the driver's seat's basically done. We're just gonna steam that up so that it's sort of all nice and tight and taut. And we've also got the back seats done. And we've got Jen just finishing up the headrests for the back seats, which is super sick. Plus the horn pad is finished as well. An embossed or debossed, I always get them confused with the SRK logo. We've got SRK logos everywhere. Very, very keen on this. Ooh, that looks sick. Need orange belts. He ran away. It's a lot of work to change belt colors. That looks so good. Well, Henri at SRK Upholstery has just knocked it out of the park, to say the very least. I don't even really have words for how I'm feeling right now. He's taken my love of street cars, my love of, custom things, my love of four-wheel drives, blended it together, and the end result is something phenomenal. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit of a skeptic 6 to 8 months ago when he first started talking about tan leather and orange stitching. I was a little bit skeptical of how that would all work together, but with the vinyl wrap on the outside, the sort of theme that we're going for with the car, the tan seats, the orange stitching, the tan wheel, it works so well. I couldn't be happier, and I'm really, really proud to have the SRK logo on the headrest and the wheel to always be reminded of how custom and how far this car has come and how far removed it is from an original Toyota now. Absolutely love it. The Falcon seats are comfortable, the Hurricane rails are great, the 1-stone armrests are in and fantastic. Now this is just phase 1 of the interior. We do still have to do the dash, the door cards, some floor mats, carpet and that sort of thing. Plus we're going to be putting a few more gadgets and gizmos in here. Gadgets and gizmos? gizmos and gadgets, whatever you want to call them, this car's going to be getting it. But for now, that basically puts an end to the interior just for this moment. We are now going to limp this car down the road only about 500 meters to the team at Heasmans, aka Bilstein Australia. They're going to give it a full nut and bolt, align the suspension, set up everything that we need, get this steering wheel straight because at the moment it is very much on the piss. Then we can finally drive the car. So if you guys need any sort of upholstery work, whether it be a street car, show car, track car, race car, or most importantly a four-wheel drive, hit up Henri here at SRK Upholstery because he really is a wizard and a god at his craft. Anyway, I reckon we get this down to Heasmans, we'll drop it off there today, and we'll come back tomorrow. We'll show you exactly what's involved in getting this thing aligned. So, we'll see you then. Well, we're back here at Heasmans, the home of Bilstein Australia and the home of what I think is one of the best, most premium suspension shops in Australia, if not the world. These guys have forged a name for themselves in the industry for aligning some of the wildest, fastest, most exotic and most exclusive vehicles this country will ever see and produce. And that is why we came back here to get the alignment done. Now, this car behind me has got nothing but Bilsteins in it, so why not bring it back to the home of Bilstein Australia to get it all dialed in perfectly. The 3-link in the front needs setting up, the 4-link in the back needs setting up, the coilovers need adjusting, the hydraulic bump stops are in there. We've got to fit this Bilstein steering dampener to the front of it. We're going to swap the rear spring rates over. We're going to get it driving straight because at the moment the steering wheel is like that. So there's a little bit to do. In this little portion of this episode, we're going to show you exactly what's involved in aligning the car, getting it set up, how much work's actually involved in it, because in a vehicle like this, setup is everything. And then hopefully I'll be able to drive this thing out of here safely. So you're not going to get much done with this in your hand, that on the hoist and nothing aligning. So let's get into it. Oh. All right, so the boys are gonna have their work cut out for them today because, like I said before, there isn't a single piece of factory Toyota stuff in this car for any sort of reference point or alignment configuration. So they really are starting from scratch. We've got Arthur and Paul are working on mounting up that front steering dampener, which hopefully they can come up with some kind of mount that's gonna go to the drag link. We're currently just making sure we can get equal lock left and right. It does look like the drag link is hitting the panhard bracket, so we might have to cut down the bolt and do a little bit of massaging there. It only just touches, but it's enough to really stop the lock from feeling nice. It sort of has that soft as it contacts. And then we're gonna start basically getting the computers on it, the lasers, the sensors, make sure it's all straight and it's gonna steer good, and then go from there. Boyd is a wizard at his craft, has done a lot of setup for all sorts of insane high horsepower GTRs and that sort of thing, so this is his bread and butter. So we're about to watch a master do his thing.
Alright, so this morning Sam's dropped the car off here for a wheel alignment. Now we've got it settled, it's all the correct ride heights, all the wheels and everything on it. The car looks really good. So what we've found is when we went to put on the wheel liner here, we couldn't get steering lock on one direction. When we've had a look underneath, this bracket here is fouling on the drag link here. So as you're turning it along, it's hitting on this bracket. So what we've done is we've modified that bracket back a bit to get a bit of clearance. Now we'll be able to get full steering lock on it and continue on with the wheel alignment. Problem number 2 for today. This is what controls your towing on the front of the car. Makes the wheels nice and even at the front. What we've done is we've run out of adjustment here. So what we'll do is I'll take it upstairs and I'll put it onto the lathe and we'll mill this down a bit to give us more adjustment here. Because at the moment, we're maxed out on both ends, not enough adjustment, so just more fun.
This car will not only kill me, but also send me to prison. Prison and death. All right, it's update time. Now, the guys have been absolutely killing it. The alignment is all done. The steering wheel straight, absolutely phenomenal. All that's left to do now is make the other end of this steering damper bracket. Now, obviously with the custom 3-link front end, with the push forward wheelbase and all that sort of stuff, didn't really have much to go off when it came to mounting this thing. So Arthur and Paul made this custom bracket up this end, and they're just making a custom clamp to go around the drag link here. So that will mount up like that. Obviously this is at full extension, but that will come back and mount up about here, right in the halfway point of that stroke, which is exactly what you want from your steering damper. If there's one thing we love, it's a good stroke. Now, a massive shout out to the team here at Heasmans. There's not a lot of suspension shops or at least alignment facilities in Australia that would have been able to deal with the stitch up that we had today, because this tie rod at the back here, that solid alloy bar, actually was slightly too long to achieve optimal alignment, and we needed to get a little bit more toe into the vehicle. So what they were able to do is we pulled it off the car, sent it upstairs, and Arthur actually has full machining, lathing abilities upstairs. So we were able to cut it down, re-groove it, recut the thread, and actually shorten it up so we could get the optimal alignment, which is really, really sick, and I'm very appreciative of that. The last thing to do here at Heasmans, once we get this bolted up, is going to be swapping out that rear spring to a slightly heavier duty spring to get the back sitting where we want it, lock off those coilovers, adjust it all up, and call it done. We're probably not going to bother showing you that because you've seen us put springs in and out of this car 150,000 times, so we may not bore you with that. So all that's left for me to do is get the hell out of the way, because I'm pretty useless at everything. Let Paul and Arthur finish this, and we'll say our goodbyes after that. Okay, well that brings us to the end of the episode. Another massive day and another huge part of the build ticked off the box. We're kicking goals with this thing lately. It's nice because it's fought us pretty much every step of the bloody way in every other aspect of the build. The team here at Heasmans have killed it as always. We've got that Bilstein steering damper installed, fitted up, little custom brackets been made up by Arthur and Paul, and they've absolutely smashed it. Boyd on the aligner has done God's work as well. We're just going to swap those spring rates over now and call it quits. I'm super keen to drive this home tonight. Registered, tan seats, trimmed by SRK, aligned here at Heasmans. This is going to be well worth the 6+ months of absolute heartache. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like it, share it to all your mates, and we'll see you next week Thursday, same time, same place.
I started, mate.
Oh, sorry.
Go.